Coming up on Focal Point, how a local gym is adjusting their protocols due to COVID-19. A vice presidential debate, a former vice president visit, and a presidential candidate you may not know about.
I'll tell you about an iconic voice that's had its job taken away.
Focal Point starts right now.
Welcome to Focal Point. I'm Joe Fryhofer. We begin today with a developing story. Yesterday, 13 men were charged with conspiring to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The agency has been following a militia group on social media by surveillance since early this year. The suspects surveyed the governor's summer home in August and September and bought tasers and night vision goggles. The plan was to kidnap Whitmer before the November 3rd election. FBI informants helped solve the case. You can see on your screen here in a few seconds the mugshots of 6 Michiganders who were arrested on federal felony charges. A Delaware man was also arrested, and other 7 Michigan men are being charged on the state level. This news comes as the governor faces more criticism about her handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Just last week, the Michigan Supreme Court ruled that she overstepped her power by extending the state of emergency past April. Much of the criticism centers on the governor's ordering non-essential businesses to close to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. Some businesses have closed for good, but it's a good day for movie theaters and bowling alleys. Today, those businesses are reopening. They've sat empty for 7 months, but after an amendment to Michigan's Safe Start plan, cinemas, bowling alleys, and live theaters are back in business. There are still restrictions. They cannot operate at full capacity, and visitors must wear masks. Even though some of the governor's orders are being repealed, Ingham County plans to keep social distancing and mask orders in place. This might be the first day movie theaters can reopen, but gyms have been open for a month. Taylor Gattoni is live at one gym that's back in business. Taylor, how are gyms managing to reopen and stay open safely?
Joe, this year has been one full of taking health to the next level. One place known for maintaining and improving health is gyms.
When it began, it was unthinkable that it would go on for 6 months.
Managers at Powerhouse Gym have been waiting a long time to open.
Every other week we're getting ready to gear up and open the gym and get things ready, and it felt like a bad dream we would never wake up from.
Now that gyms are open in Michigan, members are taking additional steps to stay safe.
They require a mask, and there's signs everywhere that tell us to wipe down everything after you use it, which I do, and hopefully everyone else does, keep us safe.
Sanitation within sight every turn. Gyms had to shut down on March 16th due to the COVID-19 pandemic. They were allowed to open up on September 9th with additional sanitation protocols. Everyone is doing their part.
Where the members are respectful of the club and following the regulations because they don't want to see the gyms get shut down again.
We waited a very long time here. We were one of the last days to open, and people are just every day when I'm behind that counter, we're getting thank yous for being open, thank yous for not shutting down, thank you for being so clean. People are just excited to be back.
Of course, you can make sure to do your part to keep gyms open by following regulations individual places like Powerhouse set up, including distancing, wearing a mask, and washing your hands. Joe, I know for my own mental health, I hope we can all keep businesses open. I'm Taylor Gattoni, live in East Lansing. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Taylor. Gyms may be open, but this pandemic is far from over. Lexi Ayala is live at our health desk with more coronavirus news and how it is affecting life here in East Lansing.
That's right, Joe. Michigan State University's fall semester started at the beginning of September. Since then, there has been a spike in COVID cases in East Lansing and on campus. The week of September 28th, 289 MSU faculty, staff, and students have been tested. 29 tests came back positive. Ingham County has a recorded 123,883 cases. 6,700 people have died. For weekly updates on COVID-19 cases on MSU's campus, go to msu.edu and navigate to testing and reporting for the latest numbers. The pandemic has put people out of work. The numbers are in the millions nationwide. Here at home on the Michigan State's campus alone, over 700 students and staff have lost their jobs. A campus of this caliber that serves about 50,000 students.
All those people that worked in the, in the venue, in the stadiums, in the concession stands, on the TV trucks.
Wouldn't be possible without the army of almost 6,000 Spartan staff members around the Red Cedar, like Matt McCullough, BTN Student U's director. But before you knew it,
it came to a grinding halt, and it wasn't just sports production.
And of course, during a global pandemic and economic crisis,
our students and our classmates and our peers were going to be hurting financially.
To make matters worse, over 700 people on Michigan State's campus lost their jobs. From students who worked at this dorm behind me, all the way over to the Jack Breslin Student Event Center, which can hold 15,000 people, but not right now. Seems like Magic's the only one left. James Madison Student Senator Jack Wheatley worked with other members of the Senate to release a statement condemning MSU.
Whether it be, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, any organization on campus, any school within the campus that felt like it was wrong.
For many left unemployed.
A very, very devastating time.
Something that Elias Bertrand doesn't normally have much of.
She's a student athlete, which, is a really rigorous schedule.
She was one of the 700 plus people left workless.
That's when I decided to start my own YouTube channel.
All about health and wellness, with workout videos, stretching, healthy meals, and more. But what I'm wondering is, where does the motivation come from during a time like this?
This is just Elias wanting to help people, wanting to inspire the world the best that I can. And as Michigan State would say, leaving my footprint,
So it would make sense that on a campus of this caliber, you find top caliber people like Elias.
And I will see you guys on the next video.
On September 25th, the James Madison College Student Senate demanded the university fully rehire all employees and write a public apology. Michigan State University has not responded, but good news for Matt McCullough, who we saw in the story. Big Ten Network will be bringing him back this month, and in the meantime, he has found a new job. He is Focal Point's new technical director. Here he is, live in the control room. Hi, Matt, and thank you. Michigan State is also on the forefront of technology in the pandemic now, helping the entire world. The Food and Drug Administration has approved a decontamination process for N95 masks. That process and the research around it started right here at MSU. It's a fogging process called VHP, which stands for vaporized hydrogen peroxide. It makes N95 masks safe to reuse. MSU is the first and only public institution to receive the approval from the FDA. The treatment was originally used here in animal care. University veterinarian Claire Hankinson leads the project and says they can sanitize thousands of masks.
We could run the cycles twice a day, 5 days a week, and ultimately get up to probably about 14,000 masks done in a day. Two of the rooms that I didn't mention, the 9 are actually larger, and we can put up to 1,000 masks at a time. And a run takes about 5 hours for it to go through the full fogging period and then the dwell period where the VHP just sits in the room and then it's exhausted out. And then the biological indicators, we need about 3 days to make sure that we've officially killed the bacterial spore forming.
The approval is currently just for the N95 masks, but the FDA could look at approving other PPE products for decontamination if a shortage happens again. That's all for This Week in Health. I'm Alexis Ayala, live in the Spartan Newsroom. Back to you, Joe.
Thanks, Lexi. The pandemic has forced many schools around the state to go digital, but what about extracurricular programs? Now that the school year is in full swing, Focal Point's Jordan Phillips logged on to see how the Turning Point of Lansing is adjusting to their new circumstances.
Donovan, you there?
Online classes have been quite an adjustment for students at all levels. However, even when classes were in person, there was a great difficulty in connecting to young black students, boys in particular.
At the Resilient Mentoring Program, Turning Point of Lansing, elders do their best to serve these young men, even if it must be done on Zoom.
We still are trying to feel our way through this whole virtual COVID situation. Who knows what we're going to end up with? We don't know, but we're poised to, to serve whomever we can in this virtual space.
With over 1,000 members joined since 2000 as either elders or students grades 7 to 12, Turning Point has strived for the same very achievable goal.
The slogan is transforming boys to men.
Transforming boys to men.
With meetings and events going virtual, they're doing their best to help these boys express themselves.
We're in a classroom setting. They don't feel nearly as comfortable as they do when we're at the gym, when we're skating or when we're bowling. So informal venues tend to be a lot more effective when it comes down to really getting to know the young man.
Elder Ron Fink has been a member for 5 years after joining with his son.
You know, young black males, as you may know, there's a lot of different struggles that we go through coming up in the world. So with that, I joined and I've loved it ever since,
Ron's wife, Monica, is running for one of 3 open seats on the East Lansing School Board, looking to make a difference as well.
We really need to roll out these initiatives and advocate strongly to get more Black and brown people within our schools and leadership positions and roles.
Although done virtually, members remain connected, just so long as they can hear each other.
Can everyone hear me?
In Lansing, Jordan Phillips, Focal Point News.
Turning Point meets on Zoom every Sunday afternoon. They will follow the school system's protocols for reopening before proceeding with in-person meetings themselves. It's been a great week of beautiful weather here in Michigan. Will it last? When we come back, we'll take a look at Focal Point's weather, and we'll also find out more about the upcoming presidential election and introduce you to one of the candidates, one you've probably never heard of. All of this and more coming up after the break. Welcome back to Focal Point. We are lucky to enjoy some great fall weather, but it's not so good in the south right now. Michaela Temple is here with a look at weather. How's it looking, Michaela?
Yeah, Joe, things in the state are looking great here, but let's first take a look at the south where things aren't going so great. Hurricane Delta is on track to hit Louisiana this afternoon. It will be weakened to a Category 3 storm by the time it hits Louisiana, but the winds are still pretty strong, getting up to 125 miles per hour. Delta is expected to weaken as it travels northeast to a tropical storm. Taking a look into our weather into the Great Lakes region, it's a beautiful day out there with temperatures in the upper 70s and even the lower 80s. And the warmer weather will continue moving into our state this weekend. Currently in East Lansing, it's 61 degrees out there, and that temperature will continue to rise as the day goes on, eventually getting up to about that 75-degree mark. Tonight we'll see mostly clear skies with temperatures in the lower 60s. Looking into our weekend, we'll see warmer temperatures all weekend in the mid-70s again tomorrow, but clouds will begin to roll in Saturday evening, dropping our temperature on Sunday to the upper 60s. As we enter the week, temperatures will remain in the 70s, but rain is expected both Monday and Tuesday, bringing with it some cooler fall temperatures that will continue to drop our temperatures throughout the week into the lower 60s by the end of the week. So this weekend might officially be the last time this year temperatures reach the mid-70s, so make sure you get outside and enjoy these next few days. Joe, back to you.
Michaela, thank you. Another East Lansing business has closed for good, and it was a popular one for students. It's the Quality Dairy on Grand River, but students won't be without a convenience store. The Big Ten Party Store East is back up and running under new management. And it sits right across the street from the old QD store. With the Big Ten football season around the corner, Spartans will still have a place within walking distance to stock up on all tailgating necessities. Opening during a pandemic can be challenging, but co-owner Money Singh says they're ready.
We can definitely use the business, and we want everybody to stay safe at the same time, so we're going to provide hand sanitizers, masks, and everything for the game days. If there is a tailgate, I don't know if there's going to be one or no, but we're trying our best to keep up with the social distancing and everything.
Big Ten Party Store East is open, and they do have job openings. For more information, call 517-351-5621. Big Ten Party Store isn't the only new business in town. As Focal Point's Connie Rabbani reports, in East Lansing, cannabis becomes the first of its kind in mid-Michigan.
This is a normal day here, you know, multiple sales guides helping everyone with their purchases.
An East Lansing business.
Our CEO is an MSU alumni, so that's why we chose East Lansing.
Opened its doors in July.
Everyone here has, you know, they have continuous cannabis knowledge, which is something that we pride ourselves on.
Pleasantries CEO.
We are cannabis people that started a business, not business people that got into cannabis.
A cannabis business, immediately impacted by COVID.
We are at a small, limited capacity. We can only allow so many on the sales floor and in reception. Right now, we do offer curbside as well, which I know a lot of places have been pivoting to curbside.
Pleasantries is the first to sell both medical and recreational cannabis in East Lansing, and their business is growing in more ways than one.
We're trying to walk that line where we maintain authentic to our roots while still being able to grab a larger market share and appeal to more of the masses.
Our grow facility is expanding. They're also going to provide upwards, I'd say at least 200-300 jobs in the next year or so.
Pleasantries has a mission to grow things beyond what's inside, and that's through growth in the community.
We're going to work on giving, I think we're going to buy books for certain students. They're going to do something where you can nominate somebody who might be in need. And then next year, we would end up buying the books for some of the MSU students that need them.
Helping students and the environment.
We also have a commitment to planting 1 tree for every pound of cannabis that we sell out of our retail store.
And CEO Randy Buckman says that expansion is coming soon. He credits this to passion.
We have a good team, and that's what, it's not me, it's not the retail managers, it's not one individual, it's really an army of people that are committed to the same cause here.
In East Lansing, Connie Rabani, Focal Point News.
The owner says East Lansing can expect more products in the store by the end of the year, and they intend to announce their second retail location outside of Michigan within the month. President Trump calls it a cure, and he feels that he's not contagious anymore. It was just a few hours after last week's presidential debate when the president and first lady tested positive for the coronavirus. This past Wednesday, the president posted a video on Twitter announcing that contracting the virus was a blessing from God. President Trump has been treated with a mix of therapeutics and experimental drugs, including the antiviral remdesivir and an antibody drug cocktail made by Regeneron. In the video, he says he will provide hundreds of thousands of Americans the drugs free of charge. They are still in the trial stage and not approved quite yet. The president isn't the only one in the White House who's come down with COVID. Over 30 aides have also tested positive. With just 25 days until the election, there is, of course, so much more to unpack this week in politics. Connor Smithy is here in the studio to walk us through it. Connor?
Yeah, that's right, Joe. The only vice presidential debate in the 2020 race took place in Salt Lake City on Wednesday night. Democrat Kamala Harris and Republican Mike Pence stepped into the ring, but they didn't exactly go toe-to-toe. Glass barriers kept them socially distanced. In front of a scattered and masked-up crowd, round one began with the candidates defending their running mates' plans for stopping the coronavirus pandemic. The conversation also continued with discussion about healthcare, taxes, and racial injustice. The next presidential debate is scheduled for October 15th, but it won't look like any debate we've seen before. Due to the president's COVID diagnosis, the town hall-style debate will be held virtually. But so far, the president's refusing to take part in a debate unless it's in person. Democratic nominee Joe Biden plans on appearing in the next debate. Last Friday, his campaign paid a visit to Grand Rapids. President Trump was diagnosed with COVID that very morning. Biden was then immediately tested and delayed his departure from Delaware to Michigan by 4 hours. The former VP arrived in the early evening to deliver a mobilization speech. Biden said that President Trump's diagnosis should serve as a reminder for all about America's access to testing.
President of the United States. Not just the folks in the White House or who travel with me that deserve regular testing. It's folks in the meatpacking and food processing plants, grocery store workers, every single American.
The state of Michigan is a key swing state in the path to the 2020 presidency. In 2016, President Trump was the first Republican in decades to flip the state of Michigan from blue to red in his victory over Hillary Clinton. President Trump and Vice President Biden aren't the only two candidates running for president. I got the chance to meet a third candidate in Detroit.
He's the only one that actually is
standing for the Constitution.
This is a campaign rally.
I feel that Joe is the one that best represents that.
About 50 people showed up in the rain in Detroit to hear a presidential candidate.
Our current government is too big, too bossy, too nosy, too intrusive. And besides, what gives them the right?
Dr. Jo Jorgensen isn't a Republican or a Democrat. She's running as a libertarian.
Well, the fact that I've never sent soldiers into needless wars, I've never raised a tax, I've never spent other people's money, and oh, by the way, I know how to balance a budget.
The crowd wants an alternative to the two major candidates, and Jorgensen made it clear what makes her different.
Now, both of them want to spend our money, both of them want to make decisions for us. Neither one has an answer to our crushing healthcare costs, and neither one is going to bring the troops home.
Jorgensen isn't alone in this election. The Libertarian Party has candidates in local elections in all 50 states. Connor Nepomuceno is running for Oakland County Supervisor.
Now is the time to start a new legacy and bring Oakland County in a whole new direction entirely. And I feel that as a libertarian, that giving Oakland County residents more freedoms is the way to do that.
The candidates and their supporters don't think voting third party means they're throwing their vote away.
Your vote is not owed to one of those duopoly candidates. You should vote for someone you believe in, someone who aligns with your principles.
Voting for your principles was a common theme at this rally.
I have a set of principles that I believe in, founded in freedom to live the way we want to live.
The Libertarian Party is smaller than the two major parties, but they are dedicated. Supporters came from across the state to hear this presidential candidate. In 2016, Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson came in third place with 4.5 million votes. Besides Libertarians, other parties like the Green, U.S. Taxpayers, and Natural Law parties will appear on the ballot in Michigan. And that's it for politics this week, but we'll keep you updated throughout the election season. So Joe, is this going to be your first time voting?
First time I actually voted, Connor, was back in 2016, but I can tell you this time around, it's going to be an absentee ballot instead. Thanks so much, Connor. Stay with us. We have more coming up after the break, including an update on fall sports and a look at what's streaming this week in entertainment. Welcome back to Focal Point. I'm Joe Freihofer. We are well into October, but still no football. Jacob Lothmer's live from Spartan Stadium. So Jacob, everybody wants to know, are we getting closer to a college football season?
Yeah, Joe, college football is getting closer and closer for us here in Big Ten territory, but the rest of the country has been playing college football for quite some time now. The SEC is in the third week of their season, and other conferences are in their fifth week. We are T-minus 15 days away from college football being back in Spartan Stadium, but practice and rapid testing is underway. The Spartan football team is being tested daily now. The players get their results back within 36 hours. The fast turnaround is key in early detection and to keep the Spartans marching down the field for the entire season.
I think that implementing a daily testing regimen will help, particularly with the relatively quick turnaround time of the antigen tests, so that you can hopefully guarantee that the student athletes that are participating in practice and competition have all tested negative.
MSU is scheduled to host Rutgers in the season opener on October 24th. Live at Spartan Stadium, I'm Jacob Lothmer, Focal Point Sports.
Jacob, thank you. So no Big Ten football for a little while, but we still have an exciting week in entertainment. Sade Moore is standing by with some good news for movie lovers everywhere.
Yeah, Joe, movie theaters in Michigan are opening. Will you go? If you're still not comfortable sitting in a theater, you can always stream from home. And there are some good choices just in time for spooky season. First up, a familiar wizard navigating through the perils of an unordinary life, battling magical creatures and the evil Lord Voldemort.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what? That's right. Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, and Ron Weasley are back on their perilous journey. You can find the famous trio streaming on Peacock. So while you're carving pumpkins, sipping apple cider, join the Hogwarts students on their magical quest to overcome the Dark Lord and fulfill their destinies. Peacock does not require a subscription, and it can be downloaded on most smart TVs and only need an email account to sign up. Shifting over to Netflix, Schitt's Creek's sixth and final season made an early arrival last week and is now available for streaming. Are you a Schitt's Creek fan? Since they won almost every award at the Emmys a couple weeks ago, I bet they have a whole new audience. The series follows the journey of the Roses, a rich family that suddenly finds themselves broke and forced to live in a small rural town in Canada named Schitt's Creek. To say they struggle adjusting to their new lifestyle is an understatement, but it's an adjustment that brings the family closer together with plenty of laughs along the way. During this Halloween season, whether you're itching for a scare or need comedic relief, Netflix and Peacock will be here for your viewing pleasure, and you don't even have to leave your couch. I'm Sade Moore, and that's all for entertainment news this week.
Thank you, Sade. We close out today's show with our Focal Point Friday finale. A voice well known to campus has retired. Sam Britton is live at Farm Lane with this week's Focal Point Friday finale. Sam, what's the word on the street?
Thanks, Joe. I'm live here at Farm Lane and Auditorium Road, and you said it best. A voice that many students heard on their walks to class is gone. The original Farm Lane walk voice was recently replaced, and students are a little bit disappointed. Chances are, if you're on the Michigan State campus, you'll hear something that catches your attention. You might hear them, but take them for granted.
And if it kind of just stopped ringing, I guess I would just be like really lost.
But there are some sounds that we just can't seem to live without.
It's just sad just to lose that little thing that just everyone remembers.
It's a symphony of sounds on this campus that might feel like voices in your head.
Farm Lane walk sign.
Yes, even the voice that tells students to walk.
Farm Lane walk sign, at least in my opinion, it's something that everyone knows about just a little bit. You can always bring it up and everyone's gonna try to do the voice.
Farm Lane walk sign.
Farm Lane walk sign.
Farm Lane walk sign.
But now, mysteriously to some, that familiar voice is gone.
Farm walk sign. Farm walk sign. Farm walk sign.
The original voice inspired students to make a dubstep remix in 2015. The MSU Facilities Department announced the change on their Twitter account. Students like Mark Brewy couldn't believe it.
I only tweeted it just to my regular Twitter and it blew up from there, so I didn't have to do very much work.
University traffic engineer Stephanie O'Donnell didn't really expect this kind of attention.
I've been here for 10 years and never have I ever had a piece of traffic equipment generate any sort of attention, really.
But it's not a piece of traffic equipment. It's a familiar voice to students who usually walk this intersection daily.
Wait.
So why the change? It's complicated. O'Donnell says it has to do with timing and the amount of words the voice says in each cycle. But due to popular demand, she said the old voice might get its job back.
Farm walk sign.
I can't commit to anything because I don't actually know the specs, I guess is the word I want. So I don't want to commit to anything. But I'm absolutely asking the question now.
I would be happy to lead any movement that may come out of this.
In the big scheme of things, the Farm Lane walk voice isn't a big issue. But these days, a little something familiar might just be what everybody needs. There wasn't any malicious intent behind changing the voice. It was simply an update to how many words it says in each cycle. But the next time I cross the street at Farm and Odd, I'll be sure to keep my ears open. Back to you, Joe.
I will too, Sam. Thanks so much. That's it for this edition of Focal Point, but we'll be back right here next week. I'm Joe Freihofer. From all of us here, have a safe weekend.